Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angel and today I'm going to be sharing with you some DIY fall signs because it is almost my favorite time of the year. Don't forget, if you enjoy this video, to give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and click that little notification bell so that you won't miss out on any of my future videos. If you haven't been to Dollar Tree lately or you haven't looked online at all of their stuff that's coming out for this fall, then you are definitely missing out. I know in many Dollar Trees, especially mine still, their fall stuff is not quite out just yet, but they do have it all online for you to look through to see what you want to get, because if you know Dollar Tree, you know that once their stuff comes in and it is gone, then it's definitely just gone. If you're gonna try and snag some of Dollar Tree's fall decor or crafting things, I would definitely be on the lookout for as soon as they start stocking this stuff on their shelves. But like I said, my Dollar Tree doesn't quite have all of their fall stuff out just yet. So in today's video, I'll be showing you some projects that I'm making from some Dollar Tree fall decor that I had from last year, or I'm either going to be using some of my decor that I keep out year round and I'll just be double purposing it and using the other side of my signs. For this first project, I'm just going to be using some of these wood houses from Dollar Tree and some wood glue to glue them together. I'm just going to be taking some of my brown paint and mixing it with a little bit of white to get a kind of creamy tan color, and then I'm going over this with 3 coats of that paint. You can just, if you want, measure out some paper and maybe put it in. You don't have to paint these, but I wanted to paint them. I had these little pumpkins left over from last year, so I just took some white chalk paint and painted them, and then I'm going to be using Dollar Tree super glue to glue these little pumpkins into the houses. And here's a look at how my little pumpkin houses turned out. For my next project, I will just be using this sign that I already have year-round in my house. I'll just be using some of my white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the back of this with 2 coats. Then I just took my pencil and I drew out a couple little pumpkins on this. Again, with this one, I just mixed up some neutral, creamy colors to paint my little pumpkins. If you're worried about your painting skills with this, it's very simple. You just don't get too close to the edge of your little pumpkin so that you can see the little outline. And you will still be able to see your pencil marks, because we're going to go back in just a minute with a Sharpie and draw these back in. And here I'm just taking some Sharpies and I'm going to go back in and draw the little lines that I had made with my pencil marks on these little pumpkins. If you want, you can definitely use paint or paint markers to do this. I just found it easier to just go back over it with my Sharpie. Once I was all finished with that, I was just going to make a little ghost sign to go with my pumpkins. Again, I'm just going to be using that paint that I already mixed up for my pumpkins. And another one of my signs that I keep out year-round in my house, I do love to repurpose and make my signs double-sided so that way you can keep your decor simple and not have so much clutter. And this is just an easy way I can turn this around for the fall season. Just like with the pumpkins, I just drew my little ghost with a pencil, and then I'm going back in with some white paint to fill that in. And then we will go back in with my Sharpie and do the outline. I did end up using one of my paint markers to fill in the eyes, but then of course I did the outline with my Sharpie. And here's a look at how my little pumpkin and ghost signs turned out. For my final project, I'll be using this little pumpkin sign that I got from Dollar Tree last year. I haven't seen really any fall stuff at my local Dollar Tree, but I'll just be using this one. I took some of my white chalk paint and painted the pumpkin, and then I used some of my green celery chalk paint to do the little leaf. I'll also be using some of my white macrame cord. You can of course use Dollar Tree twine, rope, or yarn to make this DIY. The first thing I did was just measure out a little piece of my cord to go across the pumpkin, and then I'm going to hot glue this to the back side of the sign to go straight across. Next, I just measured out 10 pieces of my cord. I did them about 3 times the length of the pumpkin. Once I had my 10 pieces, I just folded those pieces over, and we are going to tie them or wrap them around the piece of cord that we hot glued to the pumpkin. This is actually called a lark's head knot, and this knot and the square knot will be the only knots that we are going to be doing for this little pumpkin. If you don't already know how to make a square knot, I have a video that I've just posted, and it shows you in detail how to do this knot. I will be sure to link that video down below in the description box if you need help with this knot. For your first row, you're just going to go all the way across with your square knots, and then to start your second row, you will skip those first 2 cords and go to your next 4 to start that row. When you get to the end of your second row, you're also going to skip the last 2 cords as well. Then to start your third and final row for this little pumpkin, you'll go back to those first 2 cords that you skipped and start from there. Then of course, I just went back in with my scissors and trimmed off the excess. I also took some of this Dollar Tree ribbon and decided to make a little bow at the top. And here's a final look at how my little macrame pumpkin turned out. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.